You are now listening to Carlie's Couch.
I'm Carlie.
And I'm Lex.
In this podcast, we discuss a wide array of topics about life and how to live your best life.
Whatever that looks like for you.
Hope y'all enjoy.
This week on Carlie's Couch, we're talking about the pressure to monetize everything you do. Do you have to sell everything, or can we just do stuff for the joy of it?
Man, I feel like this is a super important topic, but I'm excited because this week we have a question from the couch.
Yes, Carlie has asked the followers, people born before 1990, that means you are 35 or turning 35 this year and up. What trivial skill do you possess that no one uses anymore?
And our first answer is the ability to text with a 10 key.
Yeah, pretty much. Somebody said they could be every high score minesweeper on every computer. Okay.
Shout out to you. I didn't learn how to play that game for real until later, but when I was little, I used to just click stuff. Someone said alphabetizing, and I'm not sure if they mean like books or I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I guess maybe just having to do that in real life because most things are digital online anyway. Another person said that not using their GPS all the time, which that's real.
I mean, also like printing out MapQuest directions because driving around like pirates, because that was also real. Cursive, writing, also real.
Balancing a checkbook. Haven't had to do that in a while.
Someone said they can't answer it because they're too young.
And then somebody knows how to use a card catalog and a microfiche, like at the library. Is there anything that you can do that we don't need to do anymore?
I just laugh because it makes me think about my very first internship in construction was the summer of 2008. And they were like, this is the most important skill you're going to learn your whole internship. And it was to butterfly fold plans so that you could easily find them. And that went away within the time I was there. Like
just because you could search online?
Yeah, you can search. You can, and we also have plotters. And so, yeah, but it just, like, you don't actually need to print, like, to kill all those trees to print all that stuff all the time.
Things do change quickly, but I will say for those of you who have those skills, or if you're interested in some of those skills, definitely like still try to use them from time to time, because imagine, like we see in literally every apocalyptic film, it's like when things go bad, the first thing that's probably gonna be gone is the internet, electronics, all those types of things, and so it will be helpful. I did a sailing lesson a few weeks ago, and so that was like, oh, I have to figure out which way is the direction and the wind, and how could I travel without using any electronics? So definitely keep up those skills, and good luck to those of you who don't have them.
Shout out to y'all. All right. Okay. So this week we're talking about the fact that you don't actually have to get paid or try to get money from every single thing that you do.
Are there any specific things that you would say you're really good at that you haven't or don't want to turn into a business yet? Because you do have a few things that you monetize.
I do have a few things that I monetize, and I actually made products, like self-care products for myself for over 10 years before I ever started monetizing them. I'm trying to think about that. I like to make stuff, and so I like to make stuff for myself and for people that I love, and so a lot of those things could be considered like crafty, could sell on Etsy, could go to fairs, like making stuff with concrete, with different types of paint, like using the wall plaster to do different type of paints, like building little things. Like I have a lot of little, like pretty much anything I see, I usually can build it. And I think that that's kind of a cool thing to have, but I don't like want to have to monetize that.
Why would you say you decided to go ahead and monetize some of those hobbies over time?
During COVID, I just wanted to send like little care packages to people. And so I made some butter and shared it. And everybody was like, yo, this is actually really great. Like you could make some bread off of this.
The people wanted it. And so you're like, all right. They showed demand. And so you were like, you like doing it. So you decided to go ahead and do it.
Yeah. And I think it's something that I could make a system and that could easily be scalable. Because when you think about a lot of orders and stuff, like if I'm making concrete molds for stuff and doing that, like that's a little different. But this is something I had a formula and I could easily, not easily, but I could more easily put it out there.
Yeah. And one thing I like about that too is also the fact of doing things that you enjoy, and it's not necessarily that you should or shouldn't monetize, but sometimes it's like letting that unfold over time is appropriate as well, because like let yourself actually do it a little bit, see if you want to do it. I think a lot of times people come out the gate with an idea or with something that they want to monetize, and they haven't yet had any proof that people care, or they have not created systems yet, and or they don't even know if doing that at a different scale is something they're going to even enjoy doing for long. Recently, one of our friends, he's gotten into camping and has been doing a lot of camping. And I asked him, I was like, oh, you can make a site and turn it into like a retreat and people could pay to come do the things. And he was like, yeah, I'm not trying to work. At the same time, a couple times after that, though, it's kind of like, yeah, but I could have it like if it was a Sprinter van and pick people up and blah, blah, blah. So, it's like you can chill and see what happens. But does everything have to have a return?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and specifically, I don't think everything has to have a monetary return, because quite frankly, there are so much more important and fulfilling things that you can get outside of money as a return for the things that you do anyway. First of all, hopefully enjoying it and bringing yourself some joy, bringing joy to other people, being in company of people, or being able to have something that you just zone out in and enjoy creating. I think those are also important returns. Now, if we're talking about somebody who they need to figure out how to make some money, and it's like you have 500 paintings here, then the wise thing to do might be to monetize that. And I definitely get it how once you monetize things and make it like real official, sometimes it kind of sucks the joy out of it a little bit, or you kind of get over it. It feels like you have to do things a certain way now instead of just like being creative and on your own time.
Yo, I feel that to the cellular level, even in services, when you think about, like, I started doing wellness and teaching wellness for personal training, yoga, like as a self-healing thing, but also to create accessibility for people in the community. And whenever you are tired and you still have to show up and teach, it can also suck the joy out of that stuff sometimes too. And so it's like, even with services, like, take it off of products, but how you show up in spaces, are you able to keep that joy? Like, I think that's another good thing to think about. Like, should I be monetizing this? If every time you get paid to teach yoga, now you hate it, you probably shouldn't. It should probably be a volunteer thing or something you do online just to share, or your own personal practice. Like, you also don't always have to share everything.
Yeah, I heard somebody say recently that that's one of the worst things you can do, and a big what's the right word for it? It's like going against yourself, like to stay in a work or stay in places that you don't even like at all. That's a disservice to yourself. And it's okay to just be good at things, but it's funny because there's levels, like I just said, there's a lot of people who aren't even experts or that great, who is like, they're a photographer and they're this and they're that, cool, and they're monetizing, which kind of makes people feel like they should be monetizing what they're doing. But I know some people, they're really good at certain things, and it's okay to just be good at it. You can be good at art. You can be good at a sport. You can be good at things and do them and enjoy them without necessarily having to monetize.
Yeah, I think that's super important. There's a lot of pressure, though, I think, too, like, to monetize. And if you're good at a thing, you could be making so much money if you start selling all these paintings and you start doing this and you start doing that. And it's like society. It's like, in this capitalistic society, everything has to make money. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. And I just don't think that's the best way to live.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure to monetize because the economy is so wild, where it's like stuff costs so much. There's a lot of side hustle culture now, and because like even when you scroll social media, not only are a lot of the posts monetized, but it's like post about how to post to monetize, and then post about posting to monetize, and everything's like how to get more views and how to get clicks and how to do this, how to sell. And so it's almost just like it's a bigger conversation. It used to feel that if somebody's interested in business, you're kind of interested in business. Now it's about how can everything you do be a business. And I think that just leads to a lot of other issues. We see people complain all the time about like hairstylists or certain people, the way they do business like online and making appointments, or people who cook or do things, right? It's like sometimes you're good at something, but they're not even that great at the business. And or it's also maybe not a bad thing, like that anybody also has an opportunity to make money. Now, because of social media and online, it is less appealing to think about how much you have to pay for college, or having a job that might not seem glorious, or make you look so amazing. And we have developed a culture where it's like, I'm somebody if I'm doing my own thing. So there definitely is a lot of pressures to monetize all the things that you do and your views. But it's getting kind of weird, Carlie, I think. Like, because also now it's like people are like, oh, I'll post about a thing or I'll do a thing for X amount of money. And it's just so interesting how things have changed to where what's worth money is just a totally different thing.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that people are charging for is not worth money in real life. And you see, like, I saw like somebody do a grant list, and it was like, but it's like $25 for this grant list, and it's like, oh, that's free. Like, yes, you went out and did
Like,
the legwork.
you could also just Google
but
the
you
grants.
could also just Google them instead of like keep paying and paying. And I think a lot of people also, to your point about saying they're a photographer and then monetizing, but like not necessarily being the best or not putting a lot of work in or not understanding. I think there's so much of that happening that it's kind of hard to filter through sometimes.
Yeah.
All the nonsense.
Yeah. But also, people are different. We are the type where, if I do see something where it's like I'm selling this list or I'm doing a thing, like I know how to find that stuff. And there are times where I can't think of one right this second, but there are things that I have purchased because perhaps watching this lesson or doing this course or doing certain things can bring you value. And sometimes you do learn stuff that you weren't aware of. But also a big difference there, I guess, probably is that I'm really doing that with people who are experts and who have like track records, right? It's exciting to make money on your own, though.
How do you separate creativity for creativity's sake and creativity for monetization? Or is creativity anything you even want to monetize?
Well, I believe that in whatever work you do, there's probably some form of creativity that goes into it. And by that, I just even mean like there's something about you and how you do the thing, whether it's this spreadsheet, because I have some people work with me and they like there's the way they lay a spreadsheet is way different than the way I would lay it. And it's like, it's good when they do it. And even that I could appreciate, like just knowing how to do things, right. And putting their own flair on stuff. I think that whatever you do, there's creativity that's going into it. And that it's important to have some things that you can do that allow you to practice being creative without the constraint of it having to fit into something and have to have a certain outcome and have to be to sell and have to be to make money. So if that answered your question, I would say that I do believe it's important to have creative things that you do, active things that you do, things that you do, period, that is just a part of you feeding yourself.
I feel like that's kind of resistance too, because in capitalism, it really is like, oh, you do have to monetize everything to survive, but there's so much joy and imagination and creativity and rest and peace found in doing things just to do the thing.
Yeah, and also, I mean, when I think about it too, I have monetized the skills that I'm good at because I started a business 12 years ago, 13 years ago almost. And so if you are very interested in making your own money in that way, then sure, deep dive into a thing and do that. I think it can get weird when everything we're doing is monetized or it's just like you have a lot of pots of things going as opposed to like really building something up. And also, if you're interested in a lot of different things, it's also not a bad thing necessarily to play around with stuff and then see where you could put your focus. But yeah, just you have to be careful about like burning yourself out. Have you ever felt like you were like burnt out trying to do something? Like you liked it and then probably with training and stuff, right?
I was like, yes, with training. Because
I can imagine.
Y'all don't know, but people who teach classes, the average like price that people get paid in LA is like $30 per class. Plus 10 ahead.
For a class of people?
Yes, if you're teaching a yoga class, if you're teaching a fitness class, like you're getting anywhere from 25 to 50 depending on your skill level.
Even when each person's paying that, basically?
100%. But the gym is only paying you 25 to 50. And then if some place is like extra $10 per head if you can fill the class because you have a following and stuff like that. And so all I'm gonna say is like you doing it for the love of service and the love of sharing wellness with people because you're not doing it to survive. Like that is like, let's be all the way clear. I was talking to my homeboy Ali the other day and we're like, happy, like it's something that we love to do is to serve the community, but there's no way to just build a living off of solely teaching classes because the money is just not there. And he even owns his own studio. So
I was about to say, well, what about if you own the studio? But then, so that's where the capitalism comes in, to where now when you do own the thing, you start realizing like, ooh, I can only pay these people $30 an hour. And then all of a sudden it starts making sense when you're starting to really build, unless you want to be drastic and disrupt and all that. But then it's like, I got to charge more, or I can't be in a certain space. And if you charge them more, you might have less people coming in. You might need less trainers. So like, it's a lot of things to actually think about when it's time to really like monetize.
And Coach Lala was on the podcast and shared like why she stepped away after owning a gym for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a lot. And I think it comes down to like, I was so burnt out. Like, I didn't want to see people. It started taking the joy out of it for me. And it wasn't until I was able to make money in other spaces and not have to teach all the time that I was like, okay, I love to teach just for the love of teaching, not for the bread that it brings me, because it doesn't bring that much. Like, it can, and I'm not saying that, but the typical gym rate, if you shopping around as a trainer, teacher, not for personal training, even though some of the big top gyms, that's what they pay, but like personal training, you get more. But for classes, 25 to 50-ish. Like,
And that's a good point too, that things are fun until you have to do them. So keep that in mind. And so if you are monetizing something, let's say you go to a job that's 9 to 5, and then you have something else you monetize, that might be cool for you because it feels like you can turn that on and off as you feel. And then maybe that is another outlet. And it does feel good to make money from the things that you enjoy doing as well. But having the freedom to be able to stop when you want and or switch things up is going to make a big difference. So how do you know if it's something that maybe you should monetize or just do it for the love?
And we have a great case study right now, because I'm thinking through this in my business. So there's a lot of products that like I love making. I made some candles and included them in a box, but that's not something I have a passion for, so I don't want to do that. But recently I've been like making flowers like for friends, because I love to make like if I love you, I make you stuff. Like, that's just like an interesting thing about me, and just random stuff. But like, I've been making these pipe cleaner flowers and I really love them. And then someone was like, oh, you should sell them. And I'm like, that's a whole other thing. What does that look like? As soon as you show
somebody something, you should sell that. The test is always like $10. This is yours right now. And they'd be like,
And see, the funny thing is they bought it. And I was like,
good.
But then I'm like, but I don't want it to be like, and this is thinking through, okay, so do I monetize? Maybe. So let's play with the idea. Okay, so I'm going to monetize these flowers. And it's give yourself flowers. That's been like a theme that I've had that's about my rituals of self-care. It fits in line with my brand. So is it in alignment? Yes. Is it something I can do? Yes. But how can I do it in a way where it doesn't suck the life and the joy out of me? Well, I was like, okay, what if I just do a pop-up? Like, what if I just sell them at a pop-up, and that is where I sell them? I don't sell them online. I sell them here, and that's it. Okay, that could be a good thing. Or what if I just specialty make bouquets, like pre-order for certain events, for graduations, for birthdays, for engagements, for a baby shower, whatever. Okay, that's another way too. So even thinking through those, like, what is your bandwidth? And then I think after you launch, or after you quote unquote try, you'll figure out if you really want to sell something or not. Like, one of my homegirls started selling bath salts, and she was like, oh, I want to do a whole apothecary and all these herbs. And a month in, she was like, I hate this shit. I'm selling everything. I'm done. She was like, yeah, you got it, because fuck that. And I think that that's a good thing too.
Yeah, because that's kind of what we were saying earlier. Is like, you don't have to jump to make it a business and monetize. Like, you just do it for a while. Like, make the flowers, give them to people, show them off or whatever. See if people care. Then you can start thinking, maybe if this could make sense. But hopefully it's something that you're into doing. I think that there is a difference between having passions and purpose, only in that, like, the things you're passionate about are probably signs of those are things that help you execute on your purpose. If you're passionate about speaking or to people and seeing people win or whatever, right? Like, maybe the things that you do help with that. But you can have a passion for swimming in the ocean and this and that, and that don't have to have nothing to do with you starting a swim club, or, you don't have to do something so official with everything.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I think that it's important to have hobbies just to have hobbies, and just for the sole purpose of you enjoying a thing. Like, for example, like, I love to read. Like, I have rediscovered fiction, and it has changed my life again. I get lost in books. It makes me so happy. But I don't want it to be a whole thing where I have to do something with it, because then it just feels less fun.
Yeah, you don't have to start a book club.
Bruh. But what I can do is share every once in a while, and it's kind of cool because I have shared, and I've had like classmates from USC reach back out like, oh, I'm reading that shit too. That's wild. And it's been a cool connection point. But it's like, that's not something I have to monetize. I started building like this little It looks like it fits in between your books and it goes on a shelf, but it's like a model little coffee shop, and it's like a little model, and you just build all the little things, and it has fairy lights, and then you can put it in there, and that is so cool. Is that something I will ever want to like do? No, ever. I don't even know if I'm going to do another one, but I'm building this one.
I mean, the biggest hobby and thing that I do that's not monetized is what y'all listening to or watching right now.
Oh,
like
yeah.
this whole podcast, like. We're not doing any monetization here. This not putting no check in our pockets or anything like that, right? But then it's something that does take a lot of work, and it's a lot of investment of your time and thought, and it feels good to have these conversations, and I'm sure it feels good to hear back. Like, I know when Carlie's like, oh, this person said this about the podcast, like that's a good feeling to know that there are things that we are thinking through or learning and growing, as well as being able to share that with other people. And so if you're part of your purpose, maybe that's something that can aid into that.
Man, so I was at a housewarming party. I don't even know if I told you this, but I was at a housewarming party like last month before. And a girl was like, hey, nice to meet you. I was like, oh, nice to meet you, introduced. And she came back and she was just looking at me. And I was like, hey. And she was like, I feel like I know you from somewhere. And I was like, oh, I teach yoga, I teach this.
Right.
I've been working with kids. And she was like, it's your voice. You have a podcast. And I was like,
Not
oh, shit.
Voice.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Hey, girl. So shout out to her. One of her friends had sent it to her, and she listened to the podcast, and I ended up meeting her.
Oh, that's cool.
That was super cool. So, yes, I still get excited about that. But, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, just think about the things that you're doing. What are the things that you're monetizing? Maybe you need to flip around, and this makes you think like, I could monetize a thing, because there's nothing wrong with monetizing that. But allow yourself to have things that you do just for the fun of it. Literally, like, sometimes I try to do things and like not even post about it, because it's like, what can just be just for you? And then there's the things where it's like you can do even for people and with people, but you're not necessarily selling it. Things that you're doing for yourself, or being outside, and your hobbies and all of those things because you enjoy doing it. Please make sure that, you are having ways that you make money, and it totally is a freeing thing to like do the creative things that you want to do without any of that extra pressure or thoughts of, how you have to sell it and make a sales funnel and this and that. A lot goes into that. So this week, think about the things that you're good at, things that you like to do, and do them for the joy of it. You don't have to monetize everything. But if you do want to monetize it, hit me up at Capsoch.
Because she got you. She can cap map you.
Right. We will get you right. You just got to put some money into it. So remember that too. It's investment to monetize a thing. To make money, you still have to put money into it. So that's why you really got to like it. And you really got to believe in it. All right. Have a good week.
Bye, y'all.